Hello there, namaste, as we say. Uh, my name is Billy Sky. A lot of you out there know me already. Some of you haven't met me yet. Um, but I just wanted to make this video to introduce myself, to say hi to you, to welcome you to the online Facebook community. I post a lot of different things. You see a lot of different things on Facebook these days. So I first I want to express uh, that I'm going to make a bit of a longer video than I normally do because I know our attention spans are so fast these days. We want to get to the next thing really fast, the next thing, the next thing. And but I want to encourage you to stay and watch this video because there's something of true value that I want to share with you that can help you, and I'll explain why that I want to share that with you. It's not like one of those Facebook ads where the guys keep using their arms and hands and stuff to try to get you to buy something. There's a lot of people making videos out there, and if you look at the motive behind it, it's to try to get something. They either want something from you or they want you to uh, be entertained in some way, laugh in some way, or experience something which will in turn uh, give them an increased what do you call it, increased representation of themselves, of knowing that they are of a reputation. That's the word I was looking for. It'll increase the reputation of, oh, this is a person who makes this funny videos or makes this and entertains me in some way. And so at the end of the day, the majority that you will see of these online videos that are for entertainment, it is a motive which is it's just a normal motive that you find out there. There's nothing intrinsically bad about this motive or about watching these. But there's another motive why I'm making this video, because actually a lot of people, see my website, skyfitness.yoga. They see, they hear the music I'm making, and they think, oh, this guy, he really wants to be the center of attention, he must really love the spotlight. And, I have a Leo rising astrological sign, and normally I don't talk about myself very much because it's not actually going to doesn't touch or benefit you in the way, but just to explain. Um, anyways, the rising sign is more of what the way that other people perceive you, but the moon sign is controlling the mind. The mind is a subtle body. The mind is actually the king of the senses. It's like a projector screen, and when you perceive reality, all of the senses pulls the information in, and it gets displayed on the frame of the mind. And through this mind, which is actually a subtle substance, a material substance, you experience an endless flow of desires coming in through the mind. The mind, the intelligence, and the ahankar, or the false ego, false meaning because there's also a true ego. The mind, the intelligence, the false ego, this is comprising your subtle body. Sometimes people call it the astral body. When you leave your physical body, you're still encased in a material body. This is called the subtle body. So, being in that mind, being in that intelligence and false ego, we can perceive that actually we are something separate from this, that this is not who we truly are. So many people experience this in different ways. For myself, one time I had an experience of astral projecting where I left my physical body, went up, and I'll tell that story another time. But basically, my point is that my moon sign in astrology, whenever you're born, whatever the effect of the stars in certain ways has an effect on, you know, the way that you perceive in your personality and whatnot. My moon sign is more of an Aquarius Pisces, and this is a much more introverted. Aquarius is kind of like genius on the border of insanity, you know? But since I know that I'm a little bit insane, that sort of makes me somewhat sane. But at the same time, some people, you know, I was considered a genius as a child. You can ask my mom. Uh, but I'm not here to tell you my life story. What I'm here to do is just explain that I'm not making this video because I want attention or anything like that. I'm making this video because some of my greatest teachers, including Tusta Krishna Prabhu, in his last lecture before he left this planet, and including Srila Prabhupada Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, my spiritual master, have asked that a person who has received spiritual knowledge should pass it on, should share that knowledge to others for their benefit. And in this way, by attempting to do that, you become pleasing to that person. Like if I ask you to do something, anything, like, oh, please continue watching this video. If you turn the video off, then it doesn't matter, you know. But if you continue watching simply because I asked you to watch it, then that's a pleasing thing to do. Then I become very happy that, oh, this person actually listened to what I said, and they followed it, and that you become pleased by that. So in this way, when a person is a great spiritual personality, and they have elevated themselves to the highest level, which we'll explain and go through the levels later of spiritual progress and what the symptoms are of a person who is on this highest level. Because it's a very scientific thing that you can detect when people are trying to falsely claim to be guru or some enlightened person. There is actual scientific phenomena, there are scientific symptoms that you can go by to know what a person is exhibiting and where their spiritual progress is. So I spent a great amount of time of my life searching and searching and looking and examining this teacher, this book, that book, everything, this. And most people just take teachers from all angles and create a hodgepodge of their own thing, which whatever is appealing to their own likes and interests in their minds. And you know, like a lot of my family members or people, you know, that have known me in the past, they might think, well, yeah, you know, this guy, he's doing what's right for him, you know, and it's great and it's helping him and that's his thing. But the actual reality of the situation is that this type of thinking, that I'm doing something that's appealing or that's, you know, that I'm into, the I that they're considering to be me is actually my mind, is my subtle body. So it would be basically I'm doing what's resonating with me or what I'm attracted to. And the thing about the mind is that because of our conditioning in material nature, because of the living entity or the Jivatma being encased in a material body, being in contact with matter for so long, this has an effect on the mind to such a degree that the things that our mind tells us that we are attracted to, the desires that come into our mind, they don't actually have anything to do with who we really are. And actually, if you examine the process of when a person is born and what they're exposed to in their experiences, it is greatly affecting and shaping the mind and the mind's desires. And so what one person may be into may and probably is a result of the things that have been fed to them through the mind by all kinds of experiences, not only with the parents and the family and the friends, by the TV, by the culture, by the society, by the commercials, by the movies, by the association of other individuals around them. So for me, understanding that my mind is not me, it is a separate thing, and that it can tell me things, it can tell me true things, it can tell me false things, it can lead me to the right path, it can lead me to the wrong path. It is attracted to a certain type of thing, but I don't actually have to follow it because I'm separate from it. And understanding this was a great revelation for me that helped me a lot. And also distinguishing the mind from the heart, and understanding that the heart, within the heart, not the physical organ, but the heart of the subtle body, is the house of the living entity of the soul. And so you reside there in that heart center, you, the being that's experiencing the mind. And understanding that there is a guide within the heart. This feature is known as Paramatma in the ancient Vedic science. And this Paramatma, this guide, is directing us towards freedom and unlimited happiness and peace. Ever peace. Constant peace. Not like the peace that we think about, but what's called ananda, or blissfulness, this just restful happiness. There's no real English word to describe it, but it's a spiritual experience. So when you understand that the mind and the heart are these different things, and that the heart is directing you in the correct path towards freedom, and the mind, because of the conditioning of the world and everything, is taking you away, and sometimes it will find things that are appealing that are things towards freedom, and in that way your mind can be your friend. But this is not the case. 99% of the time the mind is not your friend. So the mind is not going to be attracted towards, in the beginning, towards the path or the process that will bring you out of the condition of suffering. So when we understand that, we can see that maybe even though I'm not attracted or find something appealing, there could still be a deeper truth there that might help me. Such was my case. So even though my mind is not resonating, see, because going back to the point of this is Sky's thing, or whatever, Sky's path, my mind, or whatever, that the person that you're thinking that I am, is completely not attracted to, because of that is my fallen condition of being an imperfect person. I'm not here trying to tell you that I'm a great spiritual, self-realized person or anything like that. Absolutely not. And my mind is completely degraded and completely unattracted towards this spiritual love, this spiritual substance that I need to be free and happy. But in spite of that, in spite of the fact that my mind is saying that this is not for me, just like many of you that just like my brother, for example, from my physical family. Oh, I've tried that, what Sky's into, it's not for me. The same thing applies to me. My mind is saying the same thing. Oh, that's not for me. That I don't like. I'm attracted to something else. So you don't have to follow this mind that is attracted to these things that will bring you immense pain. You don't have to follow that. I come from a background of drug addiction and alcohol addiction. My mind is in the gutter. I'm attracted to the terrible things. I don't have to follow that. You don't have to do that. It's okay. So even though, whatever, that my mind is not agreeing, because I've come into contact with a person who is liberated, who is free, who is on the highest platform of spiritual realization, this is actually what made it possible for me to go, okay, I understand, my mind is gonna bother me, but I don't have to listen to it. So I'm not right, this person is right. I've come through deep prayer, logical analysis, and many methods to figure out that what he's saying to me is true, so I accept that and then engage in a process, which I'll explain to you. It's a very simple process of dedicating your activities, your normal actions that you're doing every day. You wake up, you do all these different activities, right? You get up, you brush your teeth, you eat some food, then you go, you do whatever, you go to work, you come back home, you do some physical exercise or something for your body, you have friendships, you make friendships with people, talk with people, you look to try to experience some happiness or enjoyment through the physical body. Meanwhile, you're eating, and you eat again, and then you sleep, and then you repeat. So you're going to continue doing these things. So what you do, or what you can do, what I'm humbly asking you to please do, and recommending that you please do, is do these same activities, but change the outcome or the consciousness or the motive to which you do that, and instead dedicate that action. You dedicate something, you say, to blah blah blah, this is for you. You write that on a note when I'm giving a CD out. You dedicate your action to the Supreme Lord, and it doesn't have to be like, within a group, or it doesn't have to be in a label or in a box, it's whatever you're comfortable with experiencing. But deep inside yourself that there is a source of energy that is providing everything to you. Everything belongs to him. So if you don't like the word him or her, there are many different features to the absolute, you see. So there's not only this impersonal giant energy ball that's not a person, but we can't just say, well, we can call that mystery God, but he can't be a person because I'm a person. If I'm a person, then I cannot say that God's more powerful than me, but he cannot be a person. I must know that God is also a person. He has a personal feature and an impersonal energetic feature. So there's all of the above. That's what omnipotent means. My computer died, but I'm just going to conclude the video here real quick. Essentially what I was describing is that the nature of the absolute, it comes in both an energetic and in a personal feature. So what you can do is you can dedicate your actions every day, the food that you make, the taking care of your body, the work that you do, you can dedicate the result of that to the Lord in a loving manner. And you may not have very much love at first. Generally we're covered and we're kind of like a little bit of like resentment sometimes feeling like life is happening to us. It's we don't deserve the bad things that we're experiencing. This is all caused by pride. So it's not that. See, once we understand the law of karma, as Jesus put, so as you sow, so shall you reap. So if we're reaping something painful, then that means that we sowed that in the past. So it's not that, because in the spiritual realm, this is a realm we're talking about of pure love, of just composed of this not just Ananda, but also Sat Chit, which is, Ananda, as I described before, is this spiritual substance of happiness. Sat, eternity, means it's beyond time. So it's existing right now. It's hard for us we cannot perceive or think about it because we have a material mind, and we're encased in a body on the wheel of time. And so for us to think of something beyond time it's a bit unfathomable. But there is actually an eternal realm, and then Chit is knowledge or enlightenment. fully aware, cognizant, and of course the Ananda blissfulness. So these three qualities, which is what I mean by spiritual, basically are also the three qualities which are composing the spiritual being that you are, the spiritual living entity that you are, and that I am. And so what we can do, what I'm requesting you to please do for your benefit, because I know that you will experience some great happiness if you take up this endeavor of beginning to offer your actions, dedicating your actions to the Lord, to whatever you're comfortable with describing as the source, something greater than yourself, separate, but the same in quality. You offer your actions, you do that, and in this way you will begin to experience your true dharma, or your true function as a spiritual living entity. When you gradually reawaken this mood of love, this mood of servitude, this mood of not being the center, but making the great source the center, in this way you will gradually undergo a transformative process in your consciousness, which is going to allow you to take the next steps, the next step forward. So this is the most basic teaching that you need to understand, so that you can get out of that situation of anxiety and fear, because it's not very fun, and I myself, like I said before, I'm so caught up with all the baggage and the crud in my mind that I don't have the compassion to continually try to reach out to all of you and request you to do this. But I will say that because my teacher has asked me to pass the knowledge on, because of that, because he has compassion and he loves you, therefore, me being a person who wants to be pleasing to him and not pleasing to my own mind, then I can reach out and say, you should do this also. And to a small degree, I do care about you, and I do want you to experience this nice feeling. So you should try consciously dedicating an activity or an action to the Lord, and meditate or think about, am I this body? Who am I? What am I? Who am I? What is going on here? These deeper questions are... So that's all for now, and I'm going to make another video soon about this question, which we've already gone into a little bit, who you really are, who I really am. And we'll discuss that further in detail. Thank you very much for listening. Namaste.